Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 256. Your weekly get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David, Microsoft teases some Bethesda exclusives, EA employees are allegedly selling FUT cards on the black market, and Activision goes through some more layoffs. Again.
Classic
Activision move, right? But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at twitch.tv/GamePoints or later over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, to feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, etc. that you might have. Just please try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. I do want to know what you guys think out there. It's good to get more opinions, just your basic echo chamber. David.
Yes.
What have you been playing this weekend? I had something else I was going to say, and damned if it didn't leave my head the second I brought that up, which is why that sounded so stilted.
What was I playing this weekend?
Something. I saw something.
I discovered that MotoGP was on Game Pass, so I started playing that.
How's that Game Pass working out for you, by the way? We do have some Game Pass news later on.
Dude, I'm rapidly becoming a fucking shill for Game Pass. So if Microsoft wants to sponsor us and throw some cash my way, like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, Phil Spencer, I just want you to know, this show has a price and it is low.
Yeah, we've discussed, I think, at length my game ADD, where I am like incapable of staying with a game for longer than 20, 30 hours for the most part. And I'm playing a different game all the time. And
I don't even think that's you, though.
I never have very much money, and I very rarely beat games. Like, open world games are completely lost on me for the most part. And Game Pass is just so flipping useful for me, because it's like, oh, okay, this game was cool for a couple hours, and then I delete it, and then I play something else.
How much is Game Pass a year at this point, by the way? Not to do a commercial for him, but I've been trying to look this up.
Shit. I think they changed the pricing.
Yeah, it's not $1 anymore.
It's. I think you can still get like the first month for $1 or some shit, which is cool if you just want to beat a random game. But I did the thing where I bought like 3 years of it for really cheap, when that little, like, you could buy regular Game Pass for cheap and then upgrade it to Game Pass Ultimate for an extra $1.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so you
bought
it when it was on a weird promo. I know that's all changed.
There was some weird loophole thing where I think I spent $50 to have it for 3 years.
That's impressive.
So for me, I'm golden. Like, I don't need to buy video games. I'm great. I want to say it's like $10 to $15 normally a
month, right? Okay.
Yeah, but I actually have no flipping idea, so I could be completely off.
All right. I have to look it up. I just need to sit down and bite the bullet on that one day, because it is getting to the point where not even I can ignore it, and I get I'm not like tooting my own horn here or like that, but I get a good amount of stuff for free at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like a big name something, that's still out of my reach. And there's more big name stuff coming, which we will get into later in the show. To go back to something you said earlier, though, when you said you have like the ADD and are able to finish a game, I was reading something recently. I think you might be in the majority, and it was talking about open world games and how many people actually finish them.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about how Ghost of Tsushima is one of the highest completion rates for open world games, and even that was only at like 50%.
Yeah.
So like most Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for example, is like at 10.
It looks like it's $10 a month for the PC version, at least.
Okay, I'm gonna God damn it!
I think it's 15 if you're trying to get it for like your Xbox, because then it also comes with like the online for Xbox.
Right. God damn it! I don't want another subscription thing, David. While on the topic of Microsoft and Game Pass, let's go ahead and get into this first story right up here. And that is a follow-up to something we reported on last week, and that was the whole Microsoft-Bethesda union, how they were officially able to make that deal go through. They got over the last legal loopholes that they had to worry about, and last week, Bethesda officially became part of Microsoft. Now, we had the announcement...
All the nonsense.
Mm-hmm. They bought the company, they bought all the IPs, they bought all the engines, they have all of it. And that's why it costs $7.5 billion with a B dollars. What they did later that week, however, after we were on, is they had a roundtable between, like Pete Hines was there, Todd Howard was there, Phil Spencer was there, a bunch of people from Microsoft essentially getting together to talk about what this means for the future of both studios. Now, this was an hour of extremely boring shit, in my opinion. However, I don't blame them for that, because they very much set the expectation as to what this was going to be ahead of time. They were very clear in saying, hey, This isn't game announcements. This is just us talking about what this means for the studios. And we were able to glean a few bits of information from this merger. I shouldn't even say upcoming merger. It's done. They are one company now. They did say that, hey, there are going to be some more announcements coming over the summer about games, hinting that probably won't even be at E3. They said this would traditionally happens at E3, but the way they said it makes me think they're going to just be doing their own thing that might not even be coinciding
Xbox
with the
Direct,
timing.
or whatever the hell they're going to call their thing.
The only reason why I mention that is because I think that is the sign that E3 is well and truly done at this point. They're not doing a physical show this year again. Everyone major has now officially pulled out of it because the last two big conferences they had was Microsoft and Ubisoft. And Microsoft now seems hellbent on doing their own thing. But one question that has been circulating that people have been wanting an answer to for a long time is, are Bethesda games going to be exclusive to Microsoft platforms?
And we already knew the ones that have already been locked in as exclusives or already had deals in place. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. They're still going to hold to their
Correct.
deals. Like,
in fact,
Deathloop is still going to be a PS5 game.
Yes. They even mentioned that obligations to both Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo means that those have to be timed PlayStation exclusives. So not only are they PlayStation games, but they're only going to be playable on PlayStation for like that first year or so.
Yep.
Which will be interesting to see if they're going to have a Microsoft Game Studios logo pop up.
Why not?
At the beginning of those. I don't think they do that for Minecraft. Because remember, Microsoft owns Minecraft too. And I don't think you see a Microsoft logo pop up when you play Minecraft on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, maybe it just has like the Mojang logo.
Yeah, I think that's how that works. But
We'll see.
We did have some light shed on this to a degree in that backwards ass corporate speak that I hate, but everyone can read into, and everyone's kind of taking their own thing away from it. So let me read what was said, and I want you to give me what you think this means. On the topic of exclusives, Phil Spencer stated, quote, "Contractual obligations to be met, but the deal will result in exclusive games." The direct quote was, "If you're an Xbox customer, the thing I want you to know is that this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists." End quote. What?
Surprising absolutely nobody.
What does that mean to you? Because despite you saying surprising nobody,
Bethesda with the full intention of having their studios work on video games that release exclusively in the Xbox ecosystem, which is what they mean by Game Pass. So it will still be on PC, which is why I think this announcement's kind of funny, because they say Xbox exclusive, and then a bunch of people get mad, or Game Pass, which that's on PC, so we just know that you'll be able to play it in both places. So a lot of people just don't.
So you would think that's pretty decisive, right?
Yeah.
Here's where shit gets wacky
about it.
Because Phil Spencer did not come out and say what games will be where. He ambiguously said great exclusive games, and then followed up with saying ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. That opens up a bunch of little fucking windows that people can worm their way in. So you have people saying, see, this means that Starfield and Elder Scrolls are going to be on PlayStation 5, because he would have said something if they weren't. Other people are saying, well, why would you say exclusive games if they're not going to be only on Microsoft and PC? You have another, or Xbox and PC. You have another group of people. Hold on.
All right.
You have another group of people saying that means, the way he phrased that Game Pass could come to PlayStation 5.
See, that would be my favorite part, and I like that camp the best.
So
I don't think that will happen, because Sony doesn't like to play well with others.
Typically,
so I just really doubt that that's going to be a thing. That being said, he doesn't explicitly say that all future Bethesda games are going to be exclusive. They want to have exclusive games. So that means that I refuse to believe that the next Elder Scrolls game is only going to be on PC and Xbox, because that's leaving so much fucking money on the table that it's stupid. But if there's other games that are coming out that Bethesda's working on, or id's working on, or Arcane's working on, I could fully expect to see some good exclusives in the Xbox ecosystem. I just don't expect them to all be exclusives.
Do you see where the ambiguity comes in, though, because of that statement? How people can go in whatever direction they want to run with, they're running with it.
He said it this way specifically because it sounds good for their shareholders.
Yeah, this
And
says nothing while
this
saying a
is
bunch of
not
things
for-
together.
This is not for anyone but the people that hold the money.
Yes. I will say that I am a little... Phil Spencer is becoming kind of... I'm getting a little tired with how he words his shit, because he is quickly becoming one of, like, the... You know how I've gone off on the whole corpo speak, the Twitch talk, where someone could say 5 paragraphs and say fucking nothing at all? Phil Spencer is quickly becoming the face of that definition to me, and it's starting to drive me nuts. Wilson's Corner over in chat says, I mean, don't you think that Spider-Man was released on PC and Xbox, it wouldn't make a ton of money? I think this is to sell consoles and Game Passes. So that's why I actually think that Starfield... I can't remember if I made this point last week or not. It would not surprise me either way if Starfield and Elder Scrolls are exclusive or not. Because either way, it is good for Microsoft and bad for Sony. Let's take the obvious one. If they are exclusive to Microsoft, Xbox, and PC, that is clearly bad for Sony. Flat out.
Yes, definitely.
There's no... I don't need to go into why that's bad. You just know it's bad. If they're on Sony, it is still bad for Sony. Because then Microsoft, to get to what Wilson's Corner chat saying, Microsoft can go, hey, do you want to play $70 for the new Elder Scrolls? Or do you want to buy a year of Game Pass for roughly that same cost? And get that and all kinds of other shit for free. And it sells Game Pass.
Win-win. Because I think that, more than anything, is what they want to sell is Game Pass.
Yeah, at this point, absolutely. I think that the Xbox... notice he didn't say... He didn't mention Xbox at all in that sentence. He said, ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. Microsoft...
That means you can play it on your tablet.
Yes.
If you got the streaming shit.
Absolutely. That is what Microsoft wants. They want to sell Game Pass, and they are throwing a shit ton of money at it. And at developers and publishers to get games exclusive. Or not exclusive, but get games on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And that is where they're going. They want to be the Netflix of video games. And as we started the show earlier, it's becoming something that, I mean, you have it. It's getting to the point where I can't ignore it anymore. And I don't want a subscription, but it's getting the deal is getting so good that I can't ignore it anymore.
Right.
What's the corner? It says, is Microsoft going to succeed while Google failed? Maybe.
I mean, depends on, does anybody use xCloud?
Yeah, that's just it. Microsoft is still actively developing xCloud. There are 3 big companies that are working on cloud architecture, and Microsoft is one of those. And I don't think we've seen even remotely close of what Microsoft is capable of when it comes to that cloud stuff.
That's true, especially if they could include that with your Game Pass subscription, and all of a sudden it is the best version of the streaming service.
Yes.
Because that's the thing I thought was stupid about Stadia, is you pay monthly, but then you also have to buy the games.
Yep. Stadia did it backwards. They said, here's our platform, the games will come. Yep. Microsoft's saying, we have the games, now here's the platform. I think that is where they're going with it. And I think that is what is going to make Microsoft the new Stadia. Or let me rephrase that. It is going to let Microsoft succeed where Stadia failed. I am very bullish on the idea of Microsoft's success in the video game industry currently.
So all this being said, and how I don't think that certain key titles will be exclusive to Xbox, that does not mean to say I don't think they will be timed exclusives, because that is just a good idea. Right, the 6 month or the 1 year. Hey, guess what? You can play this on Game Pass for the first year for $10 a month.
Is absolutely where I lean on this. I think,
and then they're gonna double dip and they're gonna release it everywhere, because as Rockstar has so steadily shown, you can keep releasing games on a new platform.
The same game over and over again. Yeah, I mean, fuck, Bethesda did that. You mentioned it earlier with Skyrim.
Skyrim's been on
it's
every
on
single
fucking
thing, including
Alexa.
your fridge.
You could play Skyrim on Alexa.
Yep.
It's a joke, Skyrim, but still, it's on there. I do think that the timed exclusive is what we will see with this. They will split the difference and go, hey, Elder Scrolls will come to PlayStation 5.
Yep.
1 year after it's been out on Game Pass.
Yep.
And that is where I see that going.
Because then you'll have the people that are just so desperate to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man, is this thing going to be worth it? Oh, I can get a month subscription to Game Pass for $1. Well, screw it. I'll pay the $1. just to play this one big AAA game that I've been wanting to play for the last 8 years. And then the idea is, look at all this other shit that I can
they got you with the taste. Now they'll hook you with the rest of it.
That's exactly what got me, man. That's how it worked. I paid $1 so I could play flippin' MechWarrior 5. Mm-hmm. That's what got me Game Pass. No joke.
Now, that said, I do think the other stuff might be Xbox exclusive. For example, I wouldn't be surprised if Doom was Xbox PC exclusive from this point on. That is a big franchise, but it's not Elder Scrolls Starfield big.
True.
I think the next Wolfenstein might be whenever that game comes around again. They will come around again. Whatever
for me,
Arcane is working on,
are exclusive to PC anyway. So
yeah, same here. But yeah, I do think that the really, really, really big games, not to say Doom isn't big, but it's just not in the same category as Elder Scrolls. It's just not. Mm-hmm. Will be multi-platform, but I think they will go timed exclusive. I think that's how it's going to look at. Let's go back to chat here real quick before I mention a couple other things on this topic. Do I think the timed... this is Wilson's Corner in chat. Do I think the timed exclusive is optimistic? I'm sorry. I do think timed exclusive is optimistic. Xbox also has a serious lacking exclusives. Also, unlike other timed exclusive, Microsoft owns Bethesda. Look at the difference of how Hades and Rocket League were handled. I don't know what you're a Rocket League guy, David. Do you know the
well, it's the I'm assuming.
Are we talking about with Epic
PlayStation Plus thing where Rocket League was given away as a PS Plus game, so a lot of people got to play it because it was out there for a little while.
I know there's also the Epic Game Store that, like, Hades, for example, was on the Epic Game Store a year before it was on Steam.
Yep, and that's where it spent its entire early access time, and then when it came out to Steam, then it was done. I don't know how Epic handled Rocket League because they bought it after the fact, so I don't know what you're talking about. My bad.
Yeah,
I think I kind of wrote that game off when it switched to Epic in the first
place.
Yeah,
and not even because it was on Epic, let's be clear here, but because of the way they changed their microtransactions.
Yep.
So, anyways, back to this. Speaking of Game Pass, there's a whole bunch of Bethesda games on Game Pass right now. That's essentially the entire Dishonored franchise, the entire Doom franchise. I think Elder Scrolls...
Except for Doom 2016. That's the one they skipped.
Really? Doom 2016 isn't on there?
Yeah, but Eternal is. Very strange.
There's got to be some kind of weird licensing of that somewhere. I don't know why.
Because, like, Doom 3, Doom 64, Doom... And then, like, Doom Eternal. Like, it's very strange.
Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, Skyrim, and... Morrowind, thank you, are all on there. Evil Within 1 is on there. The Wolfenstein games are on there. The newest Prey is on there. And a couple others as well. So essentially all of Bethesda's back catalog, not all of their back catalog, but about 10 to 12 of their bigger games is on there now.
Coolest thing, though, for these, or a lot of these games, not all of them, but most of them, on Series S and X, still hate that name, you dumb idiots, they're compatible with the boost mode, so they actually run at like 60 FPS.
Oh, very nice. That I did
even
not know.
If they didn't
That's
originally. Good. So,
that's I can't imagine playing Doom on anything less than 60 FPS. That's at a bare minimum.
Yep.
I can't see that playing that game anything less than that.
Yeah,
also,
a whole bunch of these do that, so it's kind of nice.
One more thing while on the topic of Game Pass. They did announce recently that Outriders, that Square Enix shooter, looter, whatever you want to call it, they had their demo recently. Yep. That's coming to Game Pass on day one.
So playing that game?
Because I've mentioned
multiple times on this show that I'm interested in it because of the fact that it's been self-described by the team that it is not a loot shooter, and it is a full co-op campaign game a la Borderlands, as opposed to like Division or anything like that. So I want to play it. Of course I do. And I already have this shit, so yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yes, that will be available on console and Android phones and tablets.
Most importantly, though, this Outriders announcement for Game Pass is an outlier because there's one thing about Game Pass that I do not like.
What is that?
A lot of the games that are on Game Pass do not support crossplay in any way. Unless you have somebody else that's playing it in the Xbox ecosystem.
I did not know that.
So, Outriders, however, from the press release that I read, is supporting crossplay. So if someone buys it on Steam, you can play with them if you have it on Game Pass. According to the press release. If they change that, I'm going to be pissed. But that's what I read. So
yeah, that bothers the hell out of me, actually.
I'm really excited. But there's a whole bunch of games that I think, oh man, this is super cool. I'd love to play this with friends. And you just can't because it's you have to have it on Game Pass to play multiplayer because you're running it on the Microsoft Store server, basically.
Okay. Outriders also falls in that category of a game I don't want to spend $70 on, but I will just buy a year of Game Pass and play that, and then what else comes along? Because that's like,
dude, pay the $1, play it with me for a month, and if you hate it, you can just cancel it forever.
As an aside, something I wanted to mention up too is that Octopath Traveler is also coming soon to Game Pass now. And the reason why I want to mention Octopath Traveler is specifically because that and Outriders are both Square Enix games.
Yep.
And remember what I was saying about how good.
A lot of the Final Fantasy games have been on Game Pass for a while, to be fair. They just removed Final Fantasy, what's the new single-player one? 15? Was the newest one?
Yeah.
Right? That was never finished?
The newest one that's on PC, sure.
That was on Game Pass, but then they pulled it, I think, at the beginning of this month or last month.
Okay.
Because whatever, the licensing runs out, so...
To go back...
There is that. The games leave and come back.
To go back to that statement I was making earlier about how Microsoft is throwing a shit ton of money to get games on Game Pass, they have some kind of very healthy relationship with Square right now.
Yep.
And I think that is just part of what they're trying to do, is they're just trying to get everything on Game Pass. I don't even think Microsoft cares about the Xbox anymore, to be quite honest with you. I think you're going to hear them mention the word Xbox less and less and less, and Game Pass more and more and more. And I do think that's the future of Microsoft's going. Do you have anything else you want to add to this topic before we move on there, David, or anyone else who happens to be live with us here at Twitch TV/GamePoints?
I just did a quick check to see which of the Final Fantasy games, because usually if you talk about Square, that's the thing that people ask about, currently are or will be on Game Pass, because they had an announcement of how many of those games are coming to Game Pass by the end of the year, and it's basically from 7 on.
Okay, but not remake, correct? They don't have Final Fantasy VII
remake
on
because, as far as I know, that still has an exclusivity license with Sony.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that one out specifically. Do they have the online ones as well?
The remasters of 7, 8, 9, looks like they are going to be on there. And no, I don't see online. 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 2, 12, 13, 13, 2, the other 13 and 15.
Okay. So yeah, okay. Thank you for that. David, let's do a hard shift to another topic here. This one's I'm going to let you lead on because for some reason, I think you might know more about this than I do.
Okay, let's pretend.
Know why.
FIFA 21 rocked by EAGate scandal. God, I hate
Let me pause.
Everything's a fucking gate. Stop calling things gates, you fucking idiots. It was named after a goddamn fucking place. It's not a thing.
I'm willing to bet at this point people don't even understand what Watergate actually was.
It's not a lot of things kind of tilt me.
I'm glad that you got upset by that too, because I was going to pause you when you said that, but you kind of just went on with it yourself.
It fucking pisses me off that people just add gate to the end of anything scandalous, and that's the name of it, and it's just become a thing because fucking A. It's just not, it's the name of a place. I'm so mad at the internet from so long ago, but there's nothing we can do about it now. The genie's out of the bottle, so we have to live with it. Anyway, EAGate is a fucking thing. FIFA 21 rocked by the EAGate scandal after a company employee is alleged to have sold coveted Ultimate Team cards for thousands of pounds, which is another way to say money.
This story is via Eurogamer, by the way. I realized I did not put that in the notes.
I mean, you can get it from the pounds part, right? So FIFA is currently embroiled in one of the biggest scandals to ever hit the game after an EA employee was alleged to have sold coveted Ultimate Team cards for thousands of dollars. I'm just calling them dollars. It'll be fine. Unconfirmed direct reports or direct messages appear to show a company employee selling icon cards in packages priced 750 to 1,000 euros. In one WhatsApp message, 3 Prime Icon Moments cards were offered for 1,700 euros. So, a little bit of clarification. Icon cards are something super sought after in FIFA Ultimate Team. They include legendary players such as the Brazilian Ronaldo, Pele, Ronaldinho, Zinedine Zidane.
You know, right? That asshole that ruined that ended his career by headbutting someone on his last game ever and essentially tainted his entire legacy.
And they are near impossible to get through the mode's controversial loot boxes. So they're special player cards that you can only get from a completely random, not gambling mechanic that EA has put into this video game. Even rarer are Prime Icon Moments, special versions of icon cards that mark one game or tournament that was special for the players. Players are known to have spent thousands of dollars on packs in a bid to obtain these super rare icon cards. EA has been criticized for not revealing the exact probability, which fuck you guys for not revealing drop rates. That's fucking bullshit.
If it's not gambling, then why is that a thing?
In several countries. So go fuck yourself, EA.
That's something that both you and I have fucking railed on. But like, we don't like this idea to begin with, and we think FIFA is possibly the biggest culprit of microtransactions and loot boxes and shit. But specifically,
it's also the popularity of FIFA that makes it even worse.
Yeah. Specifically, the fact that they know it's such a fucking tiny ass drop rate that they hide the drop rates on it.
Yep, because if it was the drop rates.
If it was something that helped the company, they sure as fuck would be talking about it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and everybody knows the exact probability of the chance to obtain a card is less than 1%, as the case with the icon cards, but they don't have firm drop rates listed anywhere, which is complete horseshit. Did you remember when EA had a commercial for, I think it was the basketball game from a few years ago, that legit had the character, like the guy in the commercial gambling for a player or for a team jersey or some shit?
No,
as
I
part
don't
of
remember
the commercial.
I don't.
We
remember
made fun of it
all.
for a while because there was a commercial that was showing off like the new NBA whatever game, and he's like, "Oh, and I can get my favorite jersey if I use the NBA bucks and roll on the lot of used whatever buzzwords that aren't spend money to gamble for it." But it was in the commercial. It was in the damn commercial.
I hate this.
Wilson Skrull, people keep playing it because gambling is addictive.
Yeah. It's a small number of people who make up a vast majority of the transactions on this shit.
Yeah.
The whales.
And there's the whales who will just spend the money to do it. There's also always the kid that has a parent's credit card that's not supposed to, that racks up tens of thousands of dollars very, very quickly without people knowing, because it's always outrageously easy to buy this shit by design. It's on purpose.
Rounding out the article here, FIFA Ultimate Team has always had a black market for buying and selling FUT coins, which can be used to buy icons from the in-game auction house.
I'm going to call them FUT coins.
FUT coins?
Because it's about football.
But this is the first time we've seen allegation that players have been able to buy cards directly with cash. Now, EA gave a response to this on their blog. Let me read it here, so that way you guys can... I want to use EA's words exactly, so bear with me. Earlier this week, we were made aware of suspicious activity relating to highly rated content in FIFA Ultimate Team. We learned that the FUT items were granted to individual accounts that did not earn them through gameplay, for example, by opening a pack, purchasing through Transfer Market, completing a reward challenge, or other engagement. It appears that one or more EA accounts, which were either compromised or being used inappropriately by someone within EA, directly entitled items to these individual accounts.
The next part, I think, is the big one. Sorry, go on.
While a full investigation is underway, we wanted to share an update on the issue, including what we've learned to date, an overview of the FUT content granting process, and the actions we're taking to tackle the serious problem. The alleged behavior is unacceptable, and in no way do we condone granting or purchasing player items in exchange for money.
Stop.
Pause. By all means, David, you take it.
So, what you're saying, EA, you fucking assholes, is that it is unacceptable for someone to pay real world money for content that you have locked behind a goddamn gambling mechanic in your video game that you sell for full price retail? You pieces of shit? Is that what you're telling me?
David, this practice runs counter to the game's competitive integrity and is a violation of EA's user agreement and is not something we tolerate.
Dude, when you first mentioned this story to me, I said in before EA blames the guy that was selling it as the problem.
We do not... I'm just going to keep going. We do not allow the trade... Because there's something else that sets me off even more. We do not allow the trade or sale of items outside of our game for many reasons, including that we create an unequal playing field for our community.
Stop.
Pay to win.
So you're saying your video game is pay to win, locked behind a gambling mechanic, or I can call Joe EA and offer him hard-earned dollar bills so that I can be more competitive in the video game that you've sold to me at full price.
Yeah. Our initial investigation shows questionable activity involving a very small number of accounts and items. Although it's not a large number, if these allegations prove out, this activity is unacceptable. We want to thank our committed community members for bringing the issue to our attention so quickly. Next, let's be clear about what happens now. When our investigation is completed, we will take action against any employee found to have been engaging in this activity. Any items granted through this illicit activity will be removed from the FUT ecosystem, and EA will permanently ban any player known to have acquired the content through these means. Motherfucker, this is what pisses me off, because they bought it from your employees.
Yep.
Regardless if they didn't do it with your permission or not, EA, they speak for your fucking company. You are now banning people that work for that bought something from people who work for you.
Keeping in mind that they had to do this because you don't sell this shit in a way that makes sense. And giving a random employee of your company $1,700 is cheaper than gambling on your bullshit.
Yes. And we've already established that it's pay to win.
Yep.
By their own definition. We do not allow the sale or trade of items outside our game for many reasons, including that it would create an unequal playing field for our community. Now, I don't know if that means game mechanics or not, but either way, that is them admitting, that is EA admitting that if you want to have a superior loadout, be it cosmetically or not, you must gamble to get it.
Yep, you have to gamble. You can't just give us money.
Finishing up the article here. Regardless of these actions, we appreciate how concerning this is to all of our players, and we apologize for the impact of these improper grants within the community. We also appreciate how extremely annoying and frustrating it is that this practice might have come from within EA. We're angry too. We know that the trust of our communities is hard-earned and the principles based on fair play. This illicit activity shakes that trust. We've also been clear since the creation of Ultimate Team that items cannot be exchanged outside our game, and that is key to how we keep our game safe from manipulation and bad actors. This is a breach of that principle as well, and we won't let it stand. David, if they wanted items to be unable to be exchanged outside the game, that is a very fucking simple fix. They thrive on a black market economy to have people risk the money to find the high-selling items so they can sell it later. They understand that they're selling rare items that can be sold for a high profit off the store later. Mm-hmm. And they thrive on hoping that 100 people try to go for that one rare item and spend a shit ton of money hoping to strike it rich on that one thing. They can put a stop to that. You know how you put a stop to that? You simply just lock it to the account.
Yep, you don't allow trading of the items. Or you just, make things unlockable like the video games of yore. Remember when you could just play a video game to unlock the content within said video game? Right?
This is
as like a part of the playing experience. Like, oh, I do this, or I'll do this challenge, and I'll unlock this thing because I completed this challenge. Now, the challenge is how deep your fucking bank account is.
This is so unbelievably infuriating that I can't even... this is a rod that EA made for its own back. And I hope this is used against them in the various lawsuits they have coming down on them. And I'm the guy that does not like government intervention at all. In fact,
Keeping in mind that every time we've been scared about government intervention in video games in the last 4 years,
they've backed off.
It's been EA's fault.
Yeah. And EA has corrected course on a lot of shit, except specifically this FIFA thing, because this is their golden goose. This is the one that does it. And I don't want government intervention to get involved, but what I do want to happen is all these fucking civil lawsuits to go against EA. That's going on right now. God damn it, this is so infuriating.
Because your two options, if you want to play a football game, are to either give money to EA or to Konami.
I'd rather Konami.
Right?
At least Konami...
How fucked up is it that I'd rather give my money to Konami?
At least Konami makes actual slot machines, and I know it's a fucking slot machine. Stuffy Titchy in chat says, it wouldn't surprise me if EA opts for the NFTs and their future releases. Stuffy Twitch, I don't even you didn't say NFT in this chat.
I don't even want to fucking start. Nope. We're here to talk about video games. We don't have the time. We don't have the...
But yeah, so... I will go ahead and give this final disclosure at the end of all this giant rant. Neither you nor I, David, play FIFA at all. What I know about this economy and this ecosystem and the way this game works has all been done up through like secondhand reading. So either one of us could be wrong on something here, but I don't think we are. And if we are, please let us know down in chat below. David, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Why don't you go ahead and take this one here?
All right. So this is pretty fun, but doesn't look anything like what I remember.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, there is a new trailer for Dark Alliance. Sorry, sources are from PC Gamer and Engadget. Now, Dark Alliance, for those who don't remember, is a game based in the D&D universe that came out in the PS2, Xbox One
Yeah, it was around
era.
the PS2 era.
Dark Alliance 2, I remember specifically, is having mind-blowing water, which if
Important
I go back
to
and look
note,
at it now,
you don't mean Xbox One. You mean
No,
original Xbox.
I mean the big old chunky Xbox, yes.
Because once again, their naming convention is fucking dumb.
Yeah, I don't like what they're doing. Anyway, Dark Alliance is a game that was a kind of isometric style hack and slash game for, like I said, those older consoles that were super fun. I played a ton of these games back in the day. And now we have a remake of sorts, except for not really.
Yeah, really the only thing it shares is the setting and the name.
Yep. So Dark Alliance, we know the game is coming out June 22nd. It looks nothing like the original games. It's not isometric. It's not a like hack and slash style looter action game. It is still set in the Icewind Dale like area of the Forgotten Realms. It's all in that universe. It looks way less like an RPG, a lot more like an action game. It looks though like a lot of fun. And I remember loving the Dark Alliance games. I love the universe. I like what's going on there. This is a big focus on co-op over single player. Can be done solo, but might be pretty difficult. And it's about, they mentioned that you can just button mash your way through it, but there's also complicated combos and like skill abilities and like different abilities that you can do with friends to make combo attacks go off. And it looks like a lot of damn fun.
You know what this reminds me of watching this trailer is that one, I want to say the trailer is tonally off. I mean, they got Ozzy Osbourne playing during it, and
the Ozzy thing I wasn't mad about because it's whatever, dude.
It's just I'm not saying it's bad. It's just off when it comes to tone, and it reminds me about how off the original tease for this was when we saw it. What was it during the Spike? No, I don't want to say the Game Awards. They're not they haven't been the Spike Awards in years. During the Keeleys, I just felt that was tonally off then, and it certainly seems tonally off now. But what this game reminds me of is a cross between Vermintide and Remnant, Beyond the Ashes or From the Ashes, whatever.
From the Ashes?
Was. Yeah.
Yeah, it does have that like kind of over-the-shoulder style.
But it just feels like a cross between those, especially with its focus on co-op, which kind of means I'm probably not going to be playing this unless somehow I happen to get onto it when our friend group gets into it. And somehow am able to play when you guys are actually playing it. As we've discussed, our timetables for that do not really sync up well.
Yep, not really.
I will say it is supposed to be selling for $40, which is a good price, but also a little bit of a red flag. Because you have to wonder...
they also have a digital deluxe edition that's $60.
No, thank you.
This is also from a game company called Took, which I think is based in Montreal. And the only other game that they've made that I'm aware of is Livelock.
I don't even know what that is.
Which it's a top-down shooter.
Okay.
Does
this seem like something you want to play?
It's a twin-stick shooter game. So it's like Diablo-esque, but with guns.
Okay.
In a twin-stick game. So not even Diablo-esque because it's not an action RPG.
Does this seem at all like something you want to play? Because I look at this and I just kind of think I would rather play Dark Tide or Vermintide or something like that when it comes out. Like there are only this falls in that category.
For me, I have so many like rose-tinted memories of the Dark Alliance games that I want to play it just out of sheer morbid curiosity.
Okay.
To see if it captures any of that magic, even though it plays nothing like those old games.
See, for me, this falls into a very impacted category of which it is that 4-player co-op shooter, survival shooter, whatever you want to call them, that is like Remnant, that is like Vermintide, that is like GTFO, that is like Left 4 Dead, that is like the upcoming Back 4 Blood, that is like World War Z, that is like any number of other things out there that are like this, and it's just at this point now it is just.
I'm hoping
one
it's just a co-op campaign game and not one of those.
If this wasn't called Dark Alliance, no one would be talking about it.
That's very true.
And that is what has me most concerned about it. But hey, I'm hoping I'm wrong on this because I want this to be good.
Let's be real. We both know that I'm not going to pay full price for this game, and the only way I'm actually going to play it is if it comes to Game Pass anyway.
The way Microsoft's going, it might. All right. Hard jump to some bad news here, and this is via Variety. Activision Blizzard lays off 50 employees in esports division. Activision Blizzard is pink slipping about 50 staffers across its esports operations, which include the Overwatch League, Call of Duty League, and other tournaments. The company decided to shift away from live in-person events during the COVID-19 for the layoffs. The video game company confirmed the layoffs, but didn't say what percentage of these esports employees that base represents. As a side, I'm also hearing rumors that these layoffs extend to King.com, which are the guys that make Candy Crush.
I heard it was more than King, but it was actually a few of the different mobile markets that they own.
Okay, these are just rumors I'm hearing getting tossed around, but apparently that number's around 140. But I haven't seen any official reporting on that yet.
I'm just going off of like Twitter of, hey, I work for X, and I was also got my papers this morning that I was fired.
There's a lot of that stuff going around. So we know for sure 50, but it could be as many as like 200 from what I'm hearing. That sucks. Activision Blizzard is known just to lay people off around this time, right before their big quarterly report comes out. I imagine I'd have to check that out.
It's not just that they lay them off at this time. It's that their quarter report did come out, and once again they made gangbusters, and then they lay people off because it's always, I don't know the right word for it, but you always get those two pieces of news at the same time.
It's specifically Activision Blizzard. We had a record year. Here are some layoffs.
Yep. Every fucking time.
Now, what
happens when they have a bad year and they don't make money? Do they just like hire
company
a whole new studio?
Collapses. I will say, in the case of the 50 staffers that we know for sure from the esports divisions, I get why they're being laid off. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I am saying I get it, because if there are people hired to help run in-person events and there are no in-person events, what are you going to do in that case?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I'm not going to get us into an argument about fucking, they make so much money, they should pay people forever.
Mm-hmm.
I am just going to compare them to the layoff reporting that we had just 2 weeks ago about a studio that lasted less than 5 years, made one video game, completely shuttered, and still said they're paying their employees for the next 30 days. And they have no fucking money left. Activision Blizzard has all the money in the goddamn world, and these people show up to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they need to empty out their desks.
As an aside to that, from what I hear they're getting 90 days severance pay, as well as having their health insurance extended for those 90 days too.
See, that's better, because when I read this initially, that wasn't in the reporting. Okay. And so I'm like, really? Fucking Activision Blizzard can't cover people for a little while.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like they're getting 3 months of pay. It sounds like allegedly. Let's put all that stuff out there.
Yeah, allegedly people are getting severance.
An official, source on that.
And that's all I'm saying. If your company is making gangbuster money, more than you've ever made, and you fire a bunch of people, you should give them a severance.
Yeah, it sounds like they are doing that.
I don't really care what your shareholders think. It's just the right goddamn thing to do. Be human, you fucking asses.
This isn't like those times when it was like last year, they let go of 800 people, and you're like, okay, hold on. Why are you shrinking when you said you had record growth? This is one of those things I can wrap my head around, because it's like, if you have a team...
It makes sense if it's the people that promote the esports league, but from the rumors that a bunch of the mobile divisions were also laid off, that I don't know. Less sense. Because mobile gaming in general is doing pretty damn well right now, and I refuse to believe that Activision Blizzard is somehow outside of that circle.
No idea as far as the mobile game stuff, though. Like I said, that's just all stuff that's rumor at the moment. By the time this goes live, that could have been confirmed by now. I'm just hearing rumors. I think the same thing you are, from people on Twitter saying, hey, it's closer to this, closer to that. I just haven't seen an official tally of numbers. What we do know for certain is these 50 from the esports in-person event part. So that's what. But I do want to say, too, is that I have heard they're getting at least 90 days of severance, 90 days of their healthcare being covered. Rumors. Cannot confirm or deny that.
I'm just saying, you're making a lot of money. You should hopefully offer some of these people jobs in other departments. Maybe. Or is it going to be like every other time people get fired and they just have to rely on invites from other companies?
If they got jobs in other departments, sure.
Right.
If active, I will not begrudge a company having to lay people off. I get it. Shit happens. However,
I won't begrudge them if they have to.
In this case, no, even if they don't have to, like that's company at will employment, I'm all for. I will, however, say specifically, that's fucked up. By the way, I'm reading chat. I'll get to that in a second. Specifically, when it comes to Activision Blizzard, however, there is this really fucked up synergy between record profits, layoffs.
Every time.
Every time. Now, Wilson's Corner in chat, and I cannot confirm the veracity of this, but this shit reads like a hard drive magazine article, and which means it's probably true. Wilson's Corner is saying apparently they're also getting a $200 Battle.net gift card.
So fucked.
That shit does not surprise me. If that is true. According to Jason Schreier.
And, dude, he would know.
Yeah, he would know. I'm surprised you saw that, Wilson, because I think he has like 75% of the internet blocked. But hey, that's on him. Let us know if you heard any solid things about this specific story, and I do mean solid. I want information with links if you have details on this story, because there's a lot of rumor and conjecture on right now, and that's why I keep saying allegedly, apparently, it seems to. I want confirmation, and hopefully by the time this goes live up in the various places, we will have that. David?
Yes.
We do actually have some good news of a new studio opening up, however, and this is going to be called Haven, a new Montreal-based independent studio. This is where Jade Raymond ended up at.
Woo!
Now,
we were
Jade
waiting for where she was going.
Jade Raymond
We knew it
has
was somewhere.
been... What was that?
So we knew it was somewhere.
Yeah, for those who don't know who Jade Raymond is, she worked on Assassin's Creed, she worked on Watch Dogs, she started up Motive for EA. She recently left Motive and just was kind of roaming the wilds for a little bit. Sounds like she's founded her own studio. They're going to be doing a second-party relationship with Sony, it seems. They're going to be working on an unannounced new IP for the PlayStation. So they are not bought by Sony. This is more like Kojima Productions is. How Kojima Productions made Death Stranding for Sony. Sony, I believe, was involved in the development of that game, or at least the publishing side of it, to some degree. But they don't own Kojima Productions. It sounds like this is a similar relationship. We have nothing else beyond that headline. Just that she's creating up a new studio.
Well, I mean, she just left Stadia, so good deal.
Also in the category of nothing nuts here behind the headline, Denuvo anti-cheat technology is also now available to PlayStation 5 developers via Push Square. Sony has bolstered its suite of middleware tools available to PlayStation 5 developers in addition of Denuvo's anti-cheat technology. And that is more or less the extent of the article. Now, why do you say RIP, David, when it comes to PlayStation? Because I'm not as pissed off about this as I am with Denuvo being on PC.
Because Denuvo is middleware trash that makes games run worse. And anytime Denuvo is added to literally anything, I'm not happy about it. Because Denuvo can go fuck itself.
See, for some reason, the fact that it's just not on my PC and in a PlayStation 5, because my brain looks at my PlayStation 5 and just goes, I don't have anything important on there other than games. I don't fucking care. Whereas on PC, there are reports of Denuvo's like locking actual like hardware down completely and everything like that. Way more worried about that. For some reason, hearing about on PlayStation 5 just makes me shrug it off.
The Denuvo that's being added to PC includes their full suite of bullshit that they create. The PlayStation 5 by Sony already has baked-in anti-cheat. So they're not bringing Denuvo onto the console for the anti-cheat properties. They're bringing it on for everything else. And I don't want to spend 20 minutes bitching about it. I just don't like Denuvo.
Okay.
You can Google Denuvo and how shit they are if you want, but I don't like them. I think they suck, and I'm not excited when they're added to anything in my life.
I'm extremely anti-Denuvo on PC.
I don't have a PS5, and I'm probably not going to get one forever because they don't exist.
And I am so ambivalent on it on PlayStation 5 that I'm willing just to hate on it being on PlayStation 5 to support you, David.
Thank you.
So I will bitch about this too, not because I care about it on PlayStation 5, but because you care about it on PlayStation 5. That is my gift to you.
The most recent example of me bitching about Denuvo probably would have been somewhere around April of last year when id Software decided to add Denuvo about a month after the Doom Eternal launch to that video game, which is a single-player video
take
game,
it out,
and got complete and utter backlash
as they
the
should
game
have.
Lost like 20 FPS on average.
And Doom is one of those prestige games. You don't...
That game needs to run well.
Yes.
And they added, like, anti-cheat to a single-player video game.
Doom specifically, any kind of sacrifice of frame rate is, like, sacrilegious.
Yep. So they pulled it out.
Yeah, they got
But
lambasted for that, and rightfully so.
That's enough for me to say fuck those guys.
We got 2 more stories. I'm going to go through these relatively quickly here, David. First up from Game Informer, 2K announces agreement with Tiger Woods and acquires Acclaimed PGA Tour studio. In a recently emailed press release, 2K, known for its NBA 2K series as well as its WWE franchise, has agreed to a long-term deal with legendary golf player Tiger Woods. Additionally, 2K removed to acquire HB Studios, the private development team behind PGA Tour 2K21 as well as the golf club. The acquisition of HB Studios is expected to close at some point during the first quarter of this year. This partnership with Tiger Woods includes rights to his name and likeness in future PGA Tour 2K titles. Woods will also serve as an executive director and consultant of the acclaimed golf franchise. The last time Tiger Woods was in a golf game was an EA game. Was back when it was Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods Golf.
Yeah, Tiger Woods Golf on EA's brand. I think it was like 2006, 2008. I can't quite remember what the last one was. Tiger Woods Driving Simulator. Yeah, I played that. It was a good game.
You have selected no.
Power Drive. Cool. I have always had a respect for golf games. I don't play them, but for some reason I just look. It's like Fight Night. Remember when EA used to do those Fight Night boxing games?
Dude, I miss Fight Night legitimately. I wish they would bring that series back. Fight Night was so fun.
I recognize a polished product when I see it. And those Tiger Woods games and those Fight Night games were always just very, very polished and refined to me, even if they weren't in my wheelhouse of games that I play.
Hot Shots Golf was always better than Tiger Woods, and I will die on that hill.
I am glad to see that this come back. I think it is an underserved license. I think it is something that people have been craving, and I hope that 2K and HB Games or Studios and Tiger Woods all come out of this with a little bit of extra money in their pockets because people enjoy it. One final story, David. I saved this for last because this came out of nowhere. I was shocked when I saw it. I was
already wishlisted.
I was rolling my eyes at first because I thought this was going to be shit, and then I saw the gameplay, and I literally jerked up forward because I was so shocked they were doing this.
Yep.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It is
the biggest news of the week, everyone. This is where you
essentially Turtles in Time Part 2.
Dude, I'm so excited. So this is a side-scrolling action arcade beat-em-up based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe. If you have no idea what Turtles in Time is or the old TMNT arcade game, it is an old-school style side-scrolling beat-em-up. If you never played one of those, you should because they're always fun. Always a good time. This game looks great. It very much apes the style of the old Super Nintendo / the arcade game. Dude, you can throw Foot Clan into the screen.
Yes, I remember like just smiling when I saw it. Also important to note, in fact, the most important part of this all. This is based on the 1987 version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not any of the newer stuff, not any of the weird CG movies that came out. The old school, late 80s, early 90s property that spawned 3 movies, of which only one was good. I'll let you guess which one.
Is it Secret of the Ooze because Casey Jones?
Sure. If that'll make you sleep better at night, sure.
No, you like the one that has Corey Feldman voicing Donatello. I know what you're talking about.
I am legitimately excited for this. I do not care if I play this on my own or not. It is being made by Dotemu. These are the guys that did the excellent Streets of Rage 4, which is also an amazing beat-em-up if you haven't played that yet.
Yep, which is in Game Pass.
I could not be more excited for this. I am shocked that this is coming out.
Dude, I'm so hyped for this. This is the kind of thing that I will probably play with people online, and I'll more than likely, if this comes to Switch, we'll buy it just to play it if I'm like on a bus or on a plane.
This sounds like an excellent Switch game for sure.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, this sounds like it is custom made for that platform.
The Switch is my go-to for platforms, beat 'em ups, and RPGs now.
Yeah, just play those kinds of anything that you can like stop and resume in 15-minute chunks. That's great for it. That does it for the news, David. There's one upcoming event this week, and that is the Square Enix Digital Showcase. That's going to be coming on March 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will not be streaming it live because that is well before my normal go time. They will be featuring news for Outriders, Balan Wonderland, Tomb Raiders, and the Avengers, as well as some mobile games and some stuff from Taito. Do
Wait,
not
Square Enix has an Avengers game? When's that come out?
Marvel's Anthem. Do not expect any Final Fantasy stuff here. What I mean by that is don't expect any updates on Final Fantasy 16. Expect nothing from Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2. Not Integrate or anything else like that. This is going to be solely on their more Western-based properties. Outriders, Battleborn is not Western, but Avengers, Tomb Raider, etc. There might be another announcement that we don't know of yet. I've heard rumors that there's going to be like a collector's release of the 3 more recent Tomb Raider games, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which are all amazing games.
Those games are all very, very good, yeah.
I'm told there's going to be some kind of like maybe a collector's edition of that coming out, or maybe some kind of up-resing of them, and that's good because all 3 of those games, I'd actually wouldn't mind playing through those again. But do not expect any of their hardcore RPG stuff. Just set your expectations. I get the feeling this is going to be mainly focused on Outriders because that game does come out in like 2 or 3 weeks.
April 1st?
David?
Yes.
It's a long time between now and when Outriders comes out, however. And I do have an interest in Outriders. I don't know if I'm going to drop money to play it, but I do want to take a look at it. It demoed very well when they had their early access weekend a couple weeks back.
I'm willing to bet in the next 2 weeks I can convince you to spend $1 on it.
You probably could. In the meantime, though, between now and when you call me on buying yet another thing, what can I spend my money on to keep myself occupied?
Well, I've got a few things for
God
you.
damn, I hate this fucking hobby.
Nothing big. It's a slowish week, but we've got a couple titles. Mundane. I'm bad at words. Mundaun. Mundan. Hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. This is a hand-drawn psychological horror that I think looks pretty cool. This might be up your alley.
Yeah, this looks cool. It has like a really nifty black and white kind of grainy style to it.
The art style is super neat because a lot of it looks like it's hand-drawn because it's got that pencil-on-paper look. Set in a dark, secluded valley of the Alps, explore various areas full of secrets to discover, survive hostile encounters, drive vehicles, fill your inventory, and solve a variety of handcrafted puzzles. So, take a look. I think it looks fun. Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse. Hits PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is the violent zombie comedy game. Stubbs the Zombie is a franchise that's not new. This has been around for a while. This is a not remake, but a return to form, I guess, for the franchise. It is 1959, and the city of Punchbowl, Pennsylvania is a beacon of progress and ideal living. Show the living, the law, and order are no match for a dead man on a mission. Your boyfriend's back, Maggie, and Punchbowl's gonna be in trouble. Kind of a slapstick humor zombie game where you play as the undead dude named Stubbs, and your head can fall off.
Very reminiscent of like Destroy Humans kind of vibes to it.
Run around eating people, doing slapstick nonsense. It looks pretty funny.
I will always remember when this game first came out back on the original Xbox. They were so desperate to get eyes on it, they advertised it as running on the Halo engine. That will always be the thing that sticks to my mind about this game.
Well, it might still be. I didn't mean that to be as much of a shot as it is. But
you didn't mean to be so honest.
Yeah. RBI Baseball 21 also comes out this week. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is the baseball franchise that you can play on your computer because MLB The Show is still not on there. Or wait, did they finally add MLB The Show? If you like baseball, you should play MLB The Show. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying that this is the arcade baseball franchise game that you can play. It includes creative player, play-by-play commentary, immersive time of day. But everything I've read that anybody that actually cares about this shit, compared to MLB The Show, it is not a good baseball game. It's just not. It's not on the same level. It's an arcade baseball game. Don't expect a sim. If you just want to get some baseball action and have fun, play RBI Baseball 21. There you go. Star Dynasties hits PC this week. This is something you will be interested in, but you won't be interested in right now, Steven.
Yes, I know why.
An RPG sci-fi grand strategy game.
This looks like Crusader Kings in space to me.
Yes, it absolutely looks like it's trying to be Crusader Kings in space, but it is important to note that this game is in early access. This is not a full release. So from what I've read is that it's feature limited. It does not have the depth and complexity that you could get from a Stellaris or a Crusader Kings, but that's what they're going for, and props to them because we always can use more 4X grand strategy. So if you want to support them, early access is $25. Feel free. If you hate it, don't blame me. It's not my fault. I warned you.
You name dropped Stellaris, by the way. The new Nemesis expansion for that comes out next month, and I could not be more excited.
I know you are, buddy.
I love Stellaris. God damn, I love that game.
Beach Buggy Racing 2 Island Adventure hits PS4, Xbox One, Switch. It's also on PC. This is a split-screen kart racer. It's $20. It's very much not Mario Kart, but Mario Kart that you can actually play on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. That's what they're going for. That's what it looks like. Up to 8-player local, split-screen, game rule customization, zany karts, not based on any property that I've ever heard of. But it's the second one, so they did that right, at least.
Once again, I love it when I can tell it's a game that you just do not fucking care about at all. Because you struggle to think of things to say about it because you feel like you have to give it as much attention as the other entries. And you start saying the most generic ass shit when you're doing it. It is okay just for future reference. It is okay to say, Beach Buggy Racing 2 Island Adventure comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It's a kart racer.
I can't do it. I've tried. I can't. I'm incapable of just dropping a name and a date. I'm an idiot. I can't do it. Adios hits Xbox One and PC.
This actually sounds kind of cool.
I'm going to read you this game's description and nothing else because I want you to look this game up. Yeah. All right? Adios is the name of the game. A pig farmer decides he no longer wants to dispose of bodies for the mob. What follows is a discussion between him and his would-be killer.
That is intriguing to me. I really want to play this because of that description alone.
Yep, and that's all I'm giving you. I won't tell you anything else. Look it up. Adios. In Rays of Light hits the PlayStation's Xbox One. I don't know if it's on the new ones. Switch. And this is a indie horror survival FPS game. In a quote from the developers, it's a horror game with awesome graphics, perfect sound, and unexpected twists of plot. This game never lets you get bored. It's already got mixed reviews on Steam.
Says twists of plot.
Twists of plot, awesome graphics, perfect sound. Who says a game has perfect sound?
This could be one of those things where English isn't their second language, and things get weird when you translate from one language to another. But it's plot twist.
I would be interested in a indie horror game, except for the fact that I mentioned Mundan at the top of this category, and of the two, like indie style horror games, I think that Mundan looks more interesting. But
agreed.
I could be an idiot. Maybe In Raise the Light is going to be Game of the Year. Who knows? It probably won't be, though. Space Oddard Charlie hits PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, and Mac. Hey, look at that. We got a Mac game. This is a 2D, very cutesy puzzle platformer adventure game. It's got adorable characters, makeshift weapons, Otter dressed in a foam shark suit. Join Charlie and his ragtag team of sea mammals as they jump, float, and rocket through Otter's space.
When I was making this list real quick for you to... Cute pun, by the way.
Thanks.
Let me pull the curtain back a little bit here for those watching. When I make the show notes here, I find a bunch of video games that are coming out this week. I curate those. This isn't every single video game that comes out. These are only ones that I think might be worth talking about, at least mentioning. I take like a 10-second look at it, I add it to the list, and then I give it to David for him to research more in what it's about.
It's true.
Sometimes
I do more research.
I almost skipped over Space Oddard Charlie until I saw the trailer for it, and then I went, this actually looks kind of fun to some degree.
It does. It's definitely got that like kind of cute art style, but it does look like a neat little puzzle platformer.
Mm-hmm. So there's something about that specifically that makes me keep from just totally dismissing it as garbage.
Right. You got a kid and a Switch? Take a look at Space Oddard Charlie. Just saying. Last but not least, Can't Drive This hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Switch, PC, and Mac. Okay, this game looks dumb, but I'm actually think this game looks fun.
This game looks dumb in the same way that Cluster Truck looked fun.
Dude, I love Cluster Truck. That's one of the few games I actually streamed. That's right, folks. I streamed once.
That's Strem is fine. I like Strem as a past tense of streamed.
I streamed Cluster Truck one time. It's one of the few games I ever did that to. I thought that game was tons of fun. Everyone. Anyway, Can't Drive This is a local and online co-op racing game where you or your friend is driving a giant monster truck while your friend is simultaneously building the road that you're driving on.
Yeah.
If you go too slowly, you'll explode. And it has 4-player split screen co-op. So you're trying to build the track as the driver drives in third person, and I don't know. This game looks hilarious to me, but I don't think anyone's gonna play it with me.
No, this does look fun. I am not buying this, so I definitely will not be playing it with you.
That's what I'm saying. This is something that I would absolutely play and probably laugh my ass off at, but I don't know anybody that likes driving games except for me.
But like I said, this seems to be the same kind of stupid fun that I got from. I know it doesn't have anything like in common with Cluster Truck other than the stupid car driving.
It just looks fun. You ever see a video game and said that looks like a great way to waste an hour?
Yeah, that's what this falls in the category of. And if I had like this for free or something like that, I wouldn't stream it, so don't send it to me. But I would sit down and play this with you for like an hour.
Yo,
so.
I might stream it. If you guys want me to play Can't Drive This, hook me up. It'll be my second stream after Cluster Truck.
David, that does it for new releases, which means that does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 256, and thank you all very much for watching. If you like what you saw here, and God knows why, you can support the stream any number of ways. Follow us with notifications turned on, bits, subs, especially if you're sitting on that Amazon gaming freebie if you haven't used it here. Appreciate it here, but if you don't use it here, make sure to give it a good hum somewhere else. There's Discord you can join, link provided down below with donation links and all that as well. You can follow the show over at Twitter at GamePoints PC, myself, Stephen Brown, over at CapitalistPig21, and David there over at PalChef_Satori. We'll do normal streaming of random video games throughout the week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then the podcast here, of course, will be every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll be seeing you.